to your program, Project Africa. Project Africa is about good governance and developmental drive. On this edition of Project Africa, our focus is on the highlight of the just concluded National Conference in Abuja, the Nigeria Federal Capital Territory. National Conference, which has over 490 delegates, was inaugurated by President Goodluck Jonathan on 17 March 2014 with a clear mandate of providing solution to some challenges facing the nation called Nigeria, such as power devolution, security, resources control, and quest for additional state creation, among many others. As we bring you the highlight of the National Conference, cross-section of the delegates put their view across about the conference. First on our lineup is the leader of the Nigerian ruling party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the southwestern part of the country, Chief Olabode George.
Personally, I think it had been a huge success. Initially, we had a lot of trepidations, we had a lot of fear. Everybody was entrenched in their fixations, thinking it wasn't going to work out. And of course, after the president's speech, the official opening speech, then the issue of the definition of consensus. Would it be 70% of the delegates, 66 2/3? That almost ended the whole fracas. And because of the tension which everybody was coming with, it became, I was anxious. But like the typical Nigeria, because there's no other nation like this country, we got up to the precipice. A professor of mathematics was able to make a suggestion. And look, all these percentages and figures, why don't we just average them and find an average and come? And it was unanimously adopted. That was the beginning. And most of the other highly contentious issues that have almost broken this country into pieces, were discussed openly, freely. People came out with robust arguments, with logic, and it was a reflection of what democracy was all about. And it was, with facts and figures. Both pro and con were allowed at the plenary, and in the end, the better suggestion won the day. It's something that is strange to this nation. So all those tribal biases and unnecessary innuendos and fixations and all that, to me, from in this hall, disappeared towards the end. I mean, imagine the issue of the local government, that the federal government has no business with local governments. That's why they call it local. So let it go to the states. The issue of police, to create late state police, it was something unheard of. The debates, I listened, we marshaled the points, and both sides agreed that yes, the national police couldn't handle every aspect of our problems in this country. So federal, National Assembly people make laws. Let these federal laws be handled by the national police. The issue of state police, laws of states are created by the state lawmakers. Let the state police handle that. If there is anywhere there is a cross issue from both sides, then the national takes over. We are not creating a new wheel. That is the way a federal system operates. So, by and large, all those biases that we came with disappeared. And I am very, very optimistic that the next 100 years in this country, if we continue like this, will be very, very fruitful. The younger generations coming, highly educated, you could see the young minds here, highly educated. Let's listen to the debate. Let's listen to the reasoning. And all these other issues that, oh, this side of the country is highly educated, the other side is not educated, you could see that that has disappeared. You had a woman professor, a young, pretty lady, who is a professor of political science. The first time when she introduced herself and said, look, I am Professor blah, 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 Aisha, whatever, from Sokoto State, the state of the Caliphate. I turned back to look whether it was real or not. And all her points, her arguments were healthy, robust, very academic. And so, for me, Nigeria has arrived. If we continue to respect ourselves, if we continue to listen to ourselves, rather than keep on going on these biases, the future is there. And I had snaked through this country campaigning. There is no zone in this country that is useless. We have a lot of the good, the gifts that God gave us. It's not only one-sided. That we had the Granose Pyramid. We also had the cocoa, the timber, and the palm oil. Today is crude oil. Tomorrow, who knows which? So let's live together. Well, we agree. We were not too happy the British marched us, but it was divine. Because if you look at it from the swampy forest to the savannah regions, as we differ in norm, in culture and beliefs and all that, and to have this massive nation with this huge human resource, we can work together.
Former Deputy Senate President Ibrahim Mantu also shared his view about the conference with Ben Television.
Well, first and foremost, we came in with a lot of suspicion that it might have been a diversionary tactics by the government to get all the noisemakers together in one room and catch them so that they will not be making so much noise out there. But again, when the president delivered his inaugural speech, we could see sincerity of purpose, we could see commitment to moving Nigeria forward, we could see honesty, we could see transparency, we could see that he was actually committed to ensuring that the conference comes out with something that will actually move Nigeria to its destined greatness. And I want to say that based on the sincerity of the inaugural speech of Mr. President, every member of the confab had the opportunity of commenting on the inaugural speech of Mr. President. And I'm happy to say that that was the foundation that was laid solidly for the success of this conference, because speaker after speaker eulogized Mr. President. In fact, speaker after speaker expressed his happiness with the sincerity of purpose with which Mr. President actually spoke to us. Again, for the first time, we had a conference that the delegates were asked to say anything they wanted to say, no holdbacks, and there were no-go areas. The only no-go area was that anything to do with the indivisibility of Nigeria, that was the only area we were asked not to touch. But we were allowed to talk about anything, no gagging of anybody saying whatever we want to say. And I think because we are allowed to say anything we wanted to say from our heart of hearts, that is why everybody now, voiced out what have been bottling up in their minds, things that perhaps in the past nobody had been courageous enough to say. And they say only the truth can save anybody. And I'm happy that the truth has actually saved all of us. We have concluded this conference on a very happy note, on a note that we have disappointed all the critics that we are thinking that this was another talk shop that's going to go to nowhere. I want to say that yesterday, or the day before yesterday, when we concluded, I was very happy to be a proud Nigerian. I was very happy that Nigerians have proved the world that we are a unique species of people.
Strength as a nation lies in our unity. Come rain or shine, this great promise called Nigeria will stand. Nigeria truly cares for our parents. Our soldiers will definitely bring back our girls. Say no to terrorism. Nigerians, indeed, we will overcome. This message is from the National Orientation.
Chief Victor Ume, the national chairman of All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, also captured the benefit of the conference.
Well, you can see the hilarious acclamation of the end of the conference. Contrary to the predictions of doomsday prophets, Nigeria has survived a major event. The unanimous adoption of the reports of this conference today has concretized the efforts made by the eminent Nigerians that assembled in this conference to chart a way forward for our country. We are very happy that all the resolutions of this conference are still intact by the adoption of the report. The proposed amendments to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which will bring to bear the important aspects of these resolutions that require touching the Constitution, tampering with the Constitution, have also been properly put in the proper perspectives and adopted. Proposed amendments to the Constitution and draft Constitution, which carry the same materials, the same imports of the resolutions of the conference, are the same thing. So we've not lost anything. But it will be far-reaching. A lot of grave injustices have been addressed through the deliberations of this conference. And if these things now get implemented as resolved by the conference, I will tell you that Nigeria has bought at least 20 years of additional life. You know, before any group will begin to challenge Nigeria with one form of agitation or the other, Nigeria would have settled for another 20 years to pursue aggressive development of the nation with common purpose. What has been setting the country back has been the perceived and real marginalization of some parts of the country in the affairs of the nation. Like we came here with the spirit to pursue an agenda that will remove those areas of marginalization in our national life, so that every part of Nigeria will have faith in the federation called Nigeria. This conference has achieved it. What we are going to pursue further is the proper implementation of the resolutions of this conference. Because we are sending a report to the president. The president has a number of options to give effect to these resolutions, and with the support of the conference, I believe that any stage these recommendations will go to, people will know that Nigerians have come together to make these far-reaching recommendations. Nobody should try to toy with them. If there's anything that will go to National Assembly for action, the people at National Assembly will now be carrying a heavy burden not to set Nigeria backwards by their actions. They are representatives of the Nigerian people, and they must be responsive to the decisions of the Nigerian people. This is a very large chamber of about 492 eminent Nigerians. You know, the National Assembly, no chamber in the National Assembly is superior to this chamber, you know, by quality of people who participated in the conference. You know, it was a broad-based participation. Eminent traditional rulers, diplomats, eminent politicians, leaders of professional groups, all manners of people came here with very great zeal and knowledge to tackle the issues facing Nigeria. So we expect that if they receive this, they will just push it out the way it comes, so that Nigeria will begin to work efficiently.
The interest of Nigerians in diaspora was not left out at all, as we caught up with one of the 8 delegates that represented the Nigerian diaspora at the national conference, in person of Christian Udeshuku.
There were 8 Nigerian diaspora delegates from around the world who participated in the national conference, and I feel privileged to have been one of them. Collectively, we agreed what was priority for Nigerians in diaspora. Not to say that issues of national import that were being discussed at the national conference was not important to them. It is. And we participated effectively in those discussions. But as far as the issues for Nigerians who live abroad are concerned, we agreed some key common areas that we will advocate for diaspora voting to be agreed, that we will advocate for the establishment of a diaspora commission, that we will advocate for the federal government to protect, support, and serve the interests of Nigerians who travel all over the world, so that Nigerians who are traveling anywhere in the world should feel as free and as confident as any other citizen of any other country in the world do when they travel overseas. We were quite delighted that both at the committee level and at the plenary session, the entire conference agreed and unanimously voted that Nigerians who live overseas should be able to exercise their fundamental and constitutional right to vote, that they should not lose that right and privilege because they live abroad. And so the conference passed that the resolution that Nigerians who live abroad should have the right to vote and to be voted for. And so we expect that going forward, the Independent National Electoral Commission will begin to explore the logistics for Nigerians abroad to be able to vote, using Nigerian foreign missions and their passports as part of the identification to enable that to happen. We also got approval for the establishment of a diaspora commission, which is very important in managing diaspora relationship with all other parastatals and arms of government, and to ensure that Nigerians who live overseas who want to come in to invest or to resettle are able to do so with some direct assistance. It was also agreed that the foreign missions should receive an increased budget from what is presently near 1% to a minimum of 5% of the annual budget to enable them better serve Nigerians who live overseas. And that given the population of Nigerians, we should not be apologetic of the number of Nigerians who travel or desire to travel overseas, and that anybody who desires to do so should be able to travel without impediment, without fear, and without prejudice, because that's what happens to other citizens from other states of the world, and there's no reason why Nigerians should feel or be treated differently.
Viewers, this is much you can take on this edition of Project Africa. See you again next time. Thank you.